So, the way this channel is done is I pre-record my audio and play the game after the fact. So, if I ever seem disconnected from what I'm doing, visuals versus sound-wise, that's why my vocals are done with the full intent and focus on my vocals, and my gameplay is done with the full intent on focusing on gameplay. That way I can get in the zone more effectively. This game is a game I've really wanted to play for a good long while, and I've been putting it off, trying to play the classics, like, the Nintendo 64, Zelda, Mario, a little bit of GameCube, a little bit of PlayStation 2. I played basically everything that's, considered a classic, or at least every platformer that's considered a classic. And I've touched on Legend of Zelda. I'm not gonna give my opinions on in this segment of the sound, this segment of the vocals, because it just, it's not really within the scope of talking about that. I kind of want to like think about what I have to say before I say it. But yeah, this game is, it's. I could have played the Wii version, is the interesting thing, but I didn't want to go ahead and put on, what's it called? The proper Nintendo Switch controller that I have. I didn't want to get and use that. So what I did instead was I didn't plug it in, didn't charge it up, didn't go into Dolphin, did not get the Wii version of the game because that requires motion controls to play and this one does not. So I decided to play the deluxe version. And the big differences between the deluxe version are like really minor stuff. Like a DDD's model, they upgraded it to 1080p 60 FPS. They changed, I believe it's a full 1080p, I don't really know. But they changed DDD's model, they changed the resolution, and they actually added Pro Controller support, which is similar to the Wii Classic controller. I don't know if the Wii had a Pro Controller, but it's basically similar to a normal traditional controller. And that's really good for me because I don't like the Wii controller very much. It's kind of weird and awkward for me. But I do sometimes want to play a Wii game. How much time have I spent on this? Like 3 minutes. That's not long enough. That's not enough talking. Let's see, what topics can I think of? Actually, I figure I will sort of discuss what games I have played. I have played Mario 64. I have played Mario 64. I think all the games pre-GameCube and most games, mid-GameCube, I think I will articulate this better maybe in a future video, but I believe, truly, that, like, the earlier you go with video games, the more rudimentary and less refined the video games get. And, like, my evidence of this is Mario 64 has what, like, specifically Mario fans think to be the best movement in the game, and in the Mario games. But his weight is a little bit off, and his turn radius is not 180 degrees when you play the game. He does a U-turn if you don't crouch and stand up first. So he can just kill himself walking off of a platform. That's one bit of evidence I have for, like, my idea that as you go older, the games sort of are much more jagged around the edges, let's say, in a way that sort of shapes players that have heard how incredible, how wonderful, how beautiful and incredible these games are. It does sort of But when that's all you ever hear and you never hear about the flaws, it does sort of like, oh, kick you in the face to realize, oh wait, this is a 30-year-old piece of software, and it feels like a 30-year-old piece of software. You know, there's also a part of Mario 64. Forced collecting, I don't think was a good thing to carry forward into the franchise, but I mean, they did it, and it's here to stay, so what are you going to do about it? Another thing is the constant backtracking. I find very annoying, replaying the same set of levels, but you know, it is an N64 game, what were you going to do? But also, I feel like you could have, you know, made the star count lower, first of all. You know, you could have made the star count lower to beat the game. 70 stars is kind of asking a bit much out of 120 stars, because the stars that you can get easily are like the first 2 stars of a level, maybe the first 1 star, the 3rd star, sort of the mission structure starts to become a little obtuse, and 4th, 5th, and 6th require backtracking to the level after you go further into the castle. To in my experience, this is how I play the game, right? I feel that Mario 64, first of all, had like a better turn radius when he turns around. And a more lenient star count requirement, and better, like a more horizontal stage design, wider stage design, because he's not really that good doing anything acrobatic, despite the fact that this is a very acrobatic game. You know, swinging from ropes and climbing on hanging from the ceiling, like monkey bars type thing. That stuff controls a little stiff. And also, you don't really have any air control when you jump. And you don't, you know, you can't really cancel out of a movement mid-movement. You can't like you have a dive, a punch, and a kick. They're all tailored to the same button. Not tailored, that's not the proper word. What's the phrase I'm looking for? They're all tied, connected. What's tied, connected, mapped? Oh, fuck it, I guess I'll go with mapped. They're all mapped to the same button. So, when you do, when you say, you know, jump, you can't dive forward and then kick out of the dive, or you can't punch in the air. You can't do a roll kick to stop it, side jump into a wall, and like do a dive, and then cancel the dive to stop right where you want to stop. Or at least, you know, relatively where you want to stop. You have to really commit your jump perfectly, and you can't... There's no last second save in this game. And that's kind of what you want in this game, because the camera's really fucky. The camera will fight you in certain areas. I remember in the water level with the bugs and the big slide in the underwater city. In that level, the camera sort of drifts a way you don't really want it to drift, because you want to walk straight. And the close-up camera isn't really good. Even crawling with the best, you know, camera option still isn't that good of an option, because there's these spinning electrical enemies that zap you if you're too slow when you get hit by them. I knocked something over just now. Sorry, I got distracted there. I was trying to get a drink of water and there's nothing in my cup. But yeah, that sort of stuck with me. That really, sort of bothered me about the game, that aspect of it, and also the final boss fight with Bowser in Mario 64. I don't like the way they did the Bowser fight. Like, you gave me punches and kicks, dives and acrobatic stuff, right? You do the platforming, and then it has nothing to do with the boss fight with Bowser, because you have to grab it by the tail, which is sort of finicky, I remember. You have to grab him by the tail, and you have to pull him around, swing him around with this stick. There's no auto-aim in this section, by the way, so you will be doing this for a good 20 or 30 minutes, depending on, you know, how lucky you are. There's no auto-aim in this section, and that's really bad, because, the stage breaks apart, first of all, so that you can cheat the first 2 boss fights with Bowser, but you cannot cheat the third fight. And the third fight is when shit goes to the wall, you know. The third fight, Bowser's like ridiculously fucking fast. He tracks you, so you can't even really get behind him until a certain phase of his pattern. And then on top of that, you have to grab him and spin him from far away into one of the 5 corners of a star-shaped stage, which is, it's not super easy to do. I mean, they could have done it to where there were more bombs on the stage, and they could have done it to where there was a little bit of auto-aim. Either of those options would have probably been, like, at least for the bombs, they would have definitely been pretty easy to implement, and for the auto-aim, I mean, it couldn't be that difficult, because they already had rudimentary targeting system. Or at least, you know, the basic lock-on camera, right? The games actually before Mario had lock-on, so yeah, it would have been easy to have had a lock-on camera in that little bit there. Or they could have simply not designed the Bowser fight around spinning around and throwing him. They could have had it be a melee. They could have had it be a platforming stage. They could have had it be, fuck it, a race, you know? They could have gone zany with it. They could have been goofy with it. But they chose to do the most basic and least fun version of a boss fight for what you've been doing relative to the rest, you know, of the entire fucking game. You know, the more I think about it, the more I realize, you know, that it could have been so much more than what it was. There is actually, you know, a mod in the works right now by a guy named Kazimanier that takes the game and improves upon it in every conceivable way, in ways that, you know, could only be done with hindsight. It's surprising the amount of just, like, first of all, lack of foresight. Don't want to be, you know, insulting, but there's a little lack of foresight on part of the developers, but also just, like, a little bit lazy design, in a way. No, lazy design that goes into, like, these older games. It is sort of surprising how much could have been just tweaked a little bit. Just tweaked a little bit to make the game feel better and be more fun to play because of how it feels. How much time have I spent? 14 minutes? That should be enough to get me through, like, the first stage of a game. I don't want to spend too much time talking because, yeah, I gotta get to sleep tonight, but